Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Masks Off. I am Kim,
And I'm Tia.
and we're so excited to be with you for another episode. And we have just been on this path of talking about manifestation. It is just like, really where we're being drawn to right now.
Definitely.
So, as always, I will begin with a quote, and it is: fear and anxiety many times indicates that we are moving in a positive direction out of the safe confines of our comfort zone and in a direction of our true purpose. Charles F. Glassman. So, this is a huge one for me because I like my comfort zone.
So cozy.
I like safety. I really do. And you know that I've been studying Brene Brown for so long, and she always makes the comment statement of choosing courage over comfort. And every time she would say that, I resisted. Nope, don't want to hear it. I want to stay in my comfort zone.
I'm going to stay under my big, heavy blanket.
Yes. And so we wanted to talk today about inner child work. And that, when you just said that, I want to stay with under my blanket, my little blankie. That's such a inner childlike quality.
Totally.
I just want to feel safe. I want to feel comforted. I want to feel enveloped.
Yes.
That's my inner child speaking up and resisting. And it's almost always our inner child,
right,
that is resisting the as is and whatever is coming up.
Yeah. Do you want to provide a definition of inner child? Because I think some people get it, but don't necessarily get it. You know what I mean? So how do you describe an inner child?
Yeah, I'll give a stab at it. I think that the inner child is a part of ourself that, obviously at one point we were truly a child, and now we're, in adult bodies or young adult bodies, depending on who's listening. And it's the self, it's the part of ourself that we still carry along with us that was wounded or hurt when we were a child. And it is really memories, and it's in our subconscious mind. It's beliefs, it's thoughts, it's memories. Dr. Len, who does Ho'oponopono, describes all of the stuff we need to clear as memories. And so it's like these belief systems that we've created. It's also the inner child is also the one who creates the ego for protection. So when we were truly children and we were being hurt or wounded in some way, shape, or form, disconnected from our true self, we created all of this unconsciously, of course, an ego, which was a false self to protect our true self, our inner child, because we were so hurt at the time. Yes. We couldn't deal with the pain that we were feeling as a child or the disconnection. And a lot of times, most often it happened with our parents, but it also happened with teachers and coaches and peers as well. And none of this was done intentionally by the people around us, because they were just operating out of their inner child. Right. So oftentimes you might hear, oh, the little wounded boy within, or the wounded girl within. If a person is saying that, what they're referencing is that part of yourself that was hurt as a child, and it was imprinted at the time, and you now continue to carry that with you into your adult life. And going back to, again, it is in the subconscious mind, because that's where all of our memories are stored. That's where all of our limiting beliefs are stored, in the subconscious. And that is where the clearing takes place. Right. That's where you can clear the memories, is in the subconscious. The conscious mind is just the intellect. It's where we reason, and it's our intellect, and it's the smallest part of our mind. The subconscious is 95% of the mind.
Wow.
95%.
That's just it's so amazing, isn't it?
And that's where all our crap is. So no wonder we're walking around this planet. Probably 90% of us, if not more, are walking around with our little, wounded children, raising children, and being in adult relationships. And so, when we're in conflict or arguing and there's this back and forth of, it's often the little girl within me fighting with the little boy within, if it's my husband or whoever,
Exactly.
I don't know. What does that sound like for you? Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you did a beautiful job explaining it. I think the other piece I may add is, and you touched on it, but just a little deeper, is our inner child and all those limiting beliefs, or whatever word you want to use for that. Those all came up in our childhood or whenever they arose to protect us. You mentioned protecting our true self, but we have to remember that it served us.
Yes.
All parts of our inner child served us at some point in time, because it was only created to protect us from whatever situation, hurt, pain we were in. And so we're not trying to get rid of our inner child. We're not trying to get rid of any of it. What we're trying to do is mother or father our inner child and nurture that part of us and be like, it's okay, you can have your little temper tantrum, but I'm here for you. I see you, you're valued, you're worthy. And so we're not trying to get rid of it. We're not trying to say anything is bad. It's comes back to, again, 100% responsibility, 100% acceptance. So it's that integration. It's just like you were talking about in the last episode about how you took a day and just integrated everything that you were feeling. That was your inner child coming up.
For sure.
And rather than shove her away, you just took care of her. You let her have her feelings. You let her move through that, and then you would resist it, and then you would come back and meet her and allow that flowing. So it's embracing all of us, all of our bits that are not so pretty, which can include our inner child at times, because I know when my inner child comes out, when she is really upset, it's not very pretty.
Yeah.
And I can say some pretty harsh things that you wouldn't think I would ever say, but I do.
So when your little girl comes out, do you come out fighting, or do you come out in like, oh, poor, the victim? Both.
But inherently so I did that equine assisted spiritual emotional growth training, and there was this amazing exercise about inner child. I don't think I really realized what it was at the time when we did this exercise, because it was on the first third of my path. But everyone did this, and I won't go into the details because I don't want to spoil it. But basically it was creating a situation for what your inner child, their natural inclination is. And so some people did exactly what you said, went within and just collapsed. As the rest of us were all there. When it was my turn, I was not laying down. I physically was trying to get myself out of there. And not like hurting people, but just like, I need to get away from this. This is too much.
Were you fleeing? You wanted to flee?
I was fight to just make it all go away, because I didn't want to face it. So it wasn't like fleeing and like just run. It was both. And so my natural inclination is not to go within. It's to bite back.
And you know what?
But to flee, the bite back is to flee the feelings I didn't want to feel.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Exactly. So I think it is important then to recognize what our tendencies are, and to even know that whatever shows up, that it is the inner child. And whether it is you fight and you lash back, lash out, or if you withdraw, right, and you run away,
right,
or if you just like, poor me, woe is me, victim, and lose or give away all of your power.
Right.
See, that's what I would do. I would give my power away.
Okay, so taking another layer of that, or
Okay.
another perception of it, we also can have, maybe you give your power away to certain people, but maybe other people you're more willing to push back a little bit. So our inner child can have a different response based on the relationship, because how I
That's
respond
true.
to my mother is different than how I respond in a work. Back when I used to work in an office, when I would get triggered in an office, I would definitely just go within and give my power away in an office situation. But if it were with my mother, my teenage self would come out. But now I have the ability to be conscious and like recognize, like, you know what, I don't need to bite at her right now.
Yeah.
So do you have situations or relationships where you are more like with your kids? Sometimes with our kids, we're more willing to poke, you know, because I think there's that false sense of hierarchy in parenting that really isn't true.
Yeah. And I think it depends. I think it depends on the situation. I can go either or. I think sometimes I can tend to more with my son, give my power away.
Okay.
And then I think sometimes with my daughter, I can do more of the pushback. And even like say with my spouse, I can do both. I can either sometimes give my power away, but then only so much. And then I get pushed so far, and then I come out like, you know, that I want to like attack, you know. Same with my mom. When she was alive, I would give my power away. And the way that looked, give my power away, would be a lot of times because going back to my boundaries, I would say yes when I really wanted to say no, because I wanted to please her, or I want to please. So that's how I would give my power away. And if there was a conflict, because I was a conflict avoider as well. So in conflict, I would give my power away more than often than not and just not say anything. I would be quiet. I would not use my voice and assert myself. I would just be quiet and let the other person speak.
Yeah. Have you noticed, because I noticed this for me, and for me, it was really becoming a parent shifted how my response was, because full disclosure, I mean, I was not a conscious parent when I started.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could yell until I had kids. I mean, because I would get into it with my mom when I was a teenager, but it would never be like over the top, and same with my spouse. We never really fought like that. But boy, oh boy, when I was really triggered by my kids, it was like, who is this raging lunatic? Where did she come from? I didn't even know that existed in me at all. And it was scary.
That's so true. But you know what I'm thinking? That's such a good way to just kind of say, in a sense, this is how you help parents, because that's often what will happen when we're unconscious as parents, right?
Exactly.
Because now all of a sudden we're like, oh, wow, look at this power that I have over these little minions. I can, make them do what I want them to do. I can blah, 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 especially, when they're young, until they're teenagers.
Right. Forget
it. Then forget it. Then all crap hits the fan. But the thing is that you, and what you do with conscious parenting when you help other parents, is to see that it is not about controlling the kids. It's about what's inside of me as a mom that I want to control them and yell at them.
Exactly.
What is going on? And that imprint was established back when I was a child.
Exactly.
That's the inner child. That's the inner child showing up. Totally. I didn't have power as a child. I felt powerless.
Correct.
In many situations. So now, here's this opportunity. I can have power and I can have control, and I'm going to make these kids do what I want them to do.
Because I don't want to feel that discomfort.
I don't want to feel the discomfort.
And I've
never dealt with it as a kid.
Exactly.
So I'm going to have that opportunity now to feel powerful, but now you're just repeating a pattern.
Right. And that's that generational, right?
It's the generational pattern.
Yeah.
Right. So until you break the cycle. So that's why it's so amazing, the work of conscious parenting, because you can, when doing the work, you can change generations.
Exactly.
You can heal generations
Right.
moving forward.
Exactly.
When you realize it's not really what my kids are doing, and it's about me.
Yeah. It's nothing to do with your kids.
Yeah.
They're just a catalyst and a mirror for you to heal your inner child.
And so when I'm doing a session, when I do RTT, like almost always, because I said earlier that it's in the subconscious mind. So there's always a regression in a session where I take the client back to childhood scenes. And so whatever like presenting issue that they came to me with, whether it be I have this anger issue, or I have this lack of worthiness, or I don't feel, good enough. It always comes back to the scenes that they had as a childhood, and how I can help them free themselves is because they realize that it is only the interpretation or the meaning that they continue to attach to those scenes. Because in this session, I help them understand, or they understand, I am no longer that 8-year-old little girl. Right. I'm no longer that 14-year-old. I'm no longer that 5-year-old, that 3-year-old, whatever scene comes up. I am an adult now, and I am powerful. I'm in charge of myself. So therefore the meaning, the interpretation is no longer attached. And when they can understand that, then they can let that go.
So good.
So the memory is still there, but the energy to it is gone, because they have been able to, within the subconscious mind, make that understanding. And then, we can continue in the session of integrating. We do a lot of
Which
merging.
Is so important.
And so important. It's so beautiful. So many clients, just like, including myself, when I have them, just cry.
Wow.
Because when you really just integrate and merge that inner child with the adult self, it's beautiful.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And you're not trying to get rid of her.
Not at all. You're integrating is the word, merging.
Yeah, exactly. So amazing. I mean, and the work you do is so healing on so many levels, because you're going all the way to the subconscious, which what 95% of our brain?
95% of the mind is subconscious.
When you think of that, I mean, and I think that's really important for people to remember too, is like, as we're doing this work and this journey, that's why it takes a while, and it's not a destination, because all of these patterns, all of these limiting beliefs, the inner child, all of that is in 95% of the brain.
I know.
Well, how can it not show up? Just like you were saying about the other day when you were, the sneaky eating was starting to come back up. Of course. It's not gone 100%.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's ever possible. I don't know of anyone where anything that is a long-standing pattern for coping goes away 100%. But when we have more awareness and ability, then we can see it. But to think we wave a magic wand, they have a session with you and have so much healing, it doesn't mean it's 100% gone. And so recognizing and having compassion and grace for yourself when it shows back up.
Exactly. Because I have had sessions done on me for the overeating. And like I was saying, I went to the underneath, the understanding of why, but there's so many layers to the onion,
right?
That there's more underneath. Exactly. So there's more to go back to. And that's why, like, I have been doing the Ho'oponopono, because it's just clearing more and more of the layers of the onion.
Right.
And then, like you said, it doesn't magically, you're not taking an eraser and magically erasing. It's just that, okay, now when it comes up, like I just said the other day, the eating started to come up. I'm like, okay, now I know what to do.
Yep.
I have to go back and clean some more. Exactly. I have to clean some more.
And that's why this journey of awakening and returning, because you're not looking for yourself. You're already here. It's returning to yourself and understanding that it's just another layer. That's all. It's just another opportunity. It's just another way to heal a little bit more and a little bit more. So we can shift into so much more nurturing of all parts of us.
Agreed. And it's such a better way of living life. That's where you start to have more, when you can do more of that, you have more of that freedom, more of that authenticity, more abundance. And also, like we were saying, in the subconscious mind, the 95% where all the limiting beliefs are.
Yeah.
Also, that is where the other stuff takes place as well. Creativity, imagination.
Yes.
Right? So that's the important piece, because as you're clearing and as you're cleaning all of that stuff in your subconscious mind, yes, there will still always be more cleaning to do, probably for the remainder of your life. But now as you clean, you're creating so much more space.
Yes.
Now, from that place in your subconscious mind and your imagination and your creativity is where you get inspired from the universe. And when you get inspired, that's when you act on that, and that's when you can manifest.
Right. And I love that you brought that up too, because we were focusing quite a lot on that 95% is inner child, limiting beliefs, quote, negative, which is not negative, but we were talking about that. And I'm so glad you brought up that reminder.
Me too.
That is also where your amazingness is, your true self is, your authenticity is, and all you're doing is, like you said, scrubbing and cleaning so we can access and refine who we are. Because we're not lost.
We're not lost.
We're just under all those layers and fuzz and gunk that we've accumulated to protect ourselves over the years.
Going back to our water analogy.
Yes, exactly.
The muck of the standing water, right?
Exactly.
So what you're doing is, so if we're talking about the subconscious mind, 95%, all those limiting beliefs, depending on how old you are and when they started, like I'm 51. So, there's been many, many layers piled upon. Right. So I'm cleaning. I've got all that sedimentation, but as I clean some of that sedimentation, now the water starts to move and flow. There's more flow now.
And it's clear.
And your thing about the ocean and how the cyclical effect of the ocean. So if everything is recycling and regenerating now, as I clear and the water flows and moves, then the universe can bring to me. It's just energy.
I love that vision.
Right?
So,
boy, I love water.
Oh, just to be like water, wouldn't it be amazing? And we find it. We find it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, like the whole emotions of water. I can't recall the scientist who did that work and put the energy of water, like negative feelings and positive feelings.
I'm not aware. Do you want to touch? Maybe you could teach us.
I'll have to remember the name of it, but it was in What the Bleep Do You Know is the first time I was exposed to it. It's quantum physics. It's a documentary.
Okay.
But he has a whole book on it. I can't recall his name, but basically you put all this energy, these feelings, sadness, depression, joy, all these different feelings. And then he froze the water and what the ice crystals look like. And so feelings of joy and peace and contentment are these incredibly beautiful, symmetrical ice crystals. And then sadness is just like this weird looking, or depression is, it's fascinating. The language of water. Oh gosh, I'll have to look.
That's really cool. Yeah.
It is really cool. It just shows you it's just energy.
It's just energy. Yeah.
That's it.
It's so interesting. Even you said depression, even people with depression and anxiety, it's, I know, listen, I'm not a doctor and I'm not saying people shouldn't take medication if it's needed, or even to get through some really difficult spots. And at the same time, it's more, again, a lot of this clearing and cleaning of the subconscious mind and the limiting beliefs, as you clear and clean, I believe that you can be replaced and have more joy. And as you have more joy and more, and you're reconnected to that authentic, true self,
right?
The depression is going to lift.
And I think you learn you see you are not your depression.
Yes.
It's just another energy, feeling, whatever.
Yes.
Again, not saying don't talk to
we're not telling anyone to stop taking your medication. We're not doctors.
No.
Yeah.
But
Disclaimer.
I mean, I've talked to people who have had depression or debilitating anxiety and have gone on the journey of awakening, and it has helped immensely. Some have been able to get off their meds, some haven't. So again, it's
Yeah.
an individual process.
Yes.
But pretty much everyone I know who has had some sort of clinical depression, anxiety has been able to add some healing. And I think some of that's acceptance too. You know, like because everyone has anxiety. It's normal,
Yep.
right? It's just, the level and again, not a doctor. But when I notice my anxiety rise, if I'm worried about my kids, because that's usually where I get triggered the most now.
Me too.
Is like, oh, made that choice now this, or, just kids in college and the culture of college and all of that.
Yeah.
Sexual assault, all those things. When I go down that rabbit hole, my anxiety rises, right? But then I have the ability, because of this path of awakening, which I did not have when they were 1 year old.
Me too.
Which is why I would get triggered, and my anxiety would come out as, just stop doing that, stop hitting your sister, that kind of energy. Where now it's like, okay, what is happening now? What is the now? Has anything okay, so now we're in the now. Okay, so if she were to walk home at night by herself and be raped, or a date rape, whatever it is, it's like, I know I can, not that I won't have big feelings and worry, and I can say the same about it can happen to any of us, our friends, anything. I can notice that anxiety rising, and then I can go back within, notice what I'm feeling, sit with that feeling. And those are the moments I really try to consciously choose to sit with them. Because if I do say, I'm going to choose unconscious, those aren't the times when it's in the moment. I can't choose on unconscious one most of the time, because then it doesn't serve me. Bring myself back. Notice my inner child. Like, what am I afraid of? What is this bringing up with me? Does it remind me of something when I was little? That out of control, right? Like you were saying. I can't control their choices. I can't control what happens to them, but I can show up and be present and supportive and connect regardless.
Absolutely.
So then the anxiety kind of floats away. Right. So no matter what, but if we attach to those thoughts and those scary things that are anxiety triggers in us, it's a pretty miserable place to be.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah. I've been feeling what's come up for me at times is, the worry about getting coronavirus while she's at school and being sick, and quarantined in a dorm room.
Definitely.
And I think, you said it so well. And just for me, what I have to add on for myself is that, and I've been saying lately, I have amazing coping skills.
Right.
I have amazing coping skills, because before, and this is again doing RTT, which has helped me, is that I used to think I can't handle it. Because I couldn't
too much.
Too much. And that's how I felt as a child. When I was a little girl and there was some kind of big thing going on, like a drama or something, or an accident. I remember my dad getting diverticulitis, and one time my cousin, there was a grease fire in the kitchen, and he had the frying pan and was trying to take it outside and burn his, like that kind of stuff was so scary.
Very.
And and not that the adults did it intentionally, but there were no adults to come and even say, it's okay.
Right.
Everything's going to be okay. Don't worry. Seeing that as a little child left an imprint of, oh my goodness. And I even shared way back in the beginning when I swallowed the pine needle, all the adults around me freaking out. So my belief system that I developed was that the world is scary.
Right.
And I can't handle it. And something really bad is going to happen.
Yeah. And then there's that other layer too. So you had that panic around you in those situations.
Yep.
And you never were allowed, and this is, that depth of the inner child. So you had that experience, and you never were, the adults didn't come to you and help you process and integrate that experience.
Absolutely not.
So if you had processed and integrated that experience, it would not have taken such a deep
toll on me. Exactly. Which is, again, going back to conscious parenting. So if a parent is becoming conscious, and they really start at any age, but particularly if you're fortunate enough to start when your kids are little, and
Yep.
you can start helping them at an early age to integrate all of their feelings. And again, this is,
Yep.
now the field of emotional intelligence, which is just popping up all over the place.
Just so
and I think it's
fantastic.
amazing. It's fantastic to help kids understand and process their feelings.
Right.
And had I been able to do that, you're right, it wouldn't have taken such a toll. And then so fast forward throughout my adult life, I have felt like I wouldn't be able to handle those kinds of situations. So even when my kids were like throwing up or something happened to them, I'd be like, Paul, go get the kids.
You take care of them. I can't
You take care of them. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I say to myself, because I have processed that and I no longer am attaching the meaning that I had to those. And I now say I have amazing coping skills.
Exactly.
I will get through whatever, and I'm okay and they're okay.
Right. Right. And you can help them process and integrate as well. Whether they choose to take your invitation for that is another situation.
At this point, because they're 21 and 18.
Right. But you can still provide that opportunity. And I think too, it's another thing now moving forward, right? Or for kids who are able to integrate, because we're always going to have, I shouldn't say we're always, we can have all these scary experiences where people are panicking around us and our anxiety can rise. But when we have these skills and that awareness and those coping skills, we can go back within in that moment and be like, okay, what choice needs to be made right now?
What action?
Yeah, exactly. What conscious action can I take? Everyone else is panicking. I mean, like you see, right? That's what like EMTs and all of them are trained to override that panic. And it's like, you call 911, or, in the 911 or the first aid CPR training, right? What's the one thing they say? You point to someone and say, you call 911. So that's a conscious action. So, but then we do have to come back around, I think, when we, regardless of where we're at on our journey, if we have a traumatic event, to continue and do that process and integration. Yeah. Because otherwise it is going to take hold. Again. Inner child stuff isn't always when we're little.
Exactly. It can keep popping up. It can, and it takes a constant, for me, it's constant awareness and constant cleaning and constant cultivating the adulting in me.
Right. So a question just popped into my head. Maybe you know the answer. Because inner child work and on the aftermath, right? And then PTSD. I wonder what the relation, like for people who have therapy for PTSD, I wonder if there's a lot of inner child work there, because I could see how those could totally overlap.
I would say yes, just because I know that who I train with for rapid transformational therapy, she does a whole section and unit on PTSD.
Okay.
So, and she does connect it to a lot of inner child stuff.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, really, a lot of times I think I've always had the impression for PTSD, that post-traumatic
stress
disorder would be like only for people that were in the services and got a leg shot off, or people that are in the inner cities and saw someone get murdered, like something huge and dramatic. But that's not the case.
No, not at
all. It's not the case. Actually, I had some PTSD. Yes, thank you. After my mom died.
Sure.
Just that 9 days in the hospital of her being on a ventilator, like, and what she went through, flashbacks.
I bet.
And then again, I think so, and that looped into my inner child stuff of feeling like I can't, right? That was the epitome of a situation where I felt I couldn't handle it. And I was calling you and you helped me through that. I was like, I can't handle this. In my head, that's what.
Right.
But then I was able to.
Beautifully.
Yeah.
You handled it beautifully.
Yeah. But thank you. And I did feel though, after the fact, that I still would have these flashbacks of seeing, and had to do some more healing work with that for a while afterwards.
And the fact that you did that, it didn't take hold. I mean, not that it doesn't
yes.
go away again.
No.
But it doesn't have if you hadn't done that, it probably would still have a pretty tight grip on you.
Exactly. There's been a huge release. There's been a huge energetic release and healing from that. So I'm sure there are still remnants. Like you said, it's always kind of still there, but you know, it's not like bubbling up at the surface, and it's not gripping me in the way that you would think if I didn't do the work. It's a freaking part-time, it's a full-time job, honestly. Let's face it, doing inner work and healing is a freaking full-time job.
And it is not roses and rainbows.
No.
But it is roses and rainbows. It's both.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes. Going back to what is the plus side of this, because it is manifesting, right?
Exactly.
There is this abundance, this joy, this freedom.
And there's the ability. This for me was what was really substantial for me. Because I, along with many of you listening, we weren't raised to be okay with negative feelings. Shove them away. You don't tell anyone about it. Quit crying. Buck up. You know, all of that. What I have gained most, I think, not most, but one of the things I have gained is the ability to flow with those negative feelings and not like get stuck in them or avoid them. Now they just are. So I think, yes, there's lots of joy and contentment in all of this, but also when the sadness comes in or the anger comes in or whatever, frustration, triggering, any of that, it's like, oh, here you are.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I'm going to be okay. And I know I'm just going to sit with this feeling, allow it to move through. And then I'm going to vacillate to joy, because we need the contrast. It's like the yin yang symbol, right? It can't all be sunshine and roses. That's not life.
We don't learn if we don't have that. And dark
we have
side.
To have those tough. I mean, look at what your those 9 days with your mother.
Yeah, I know.
What they gave you and her.
Huge. Huge. Yeah.
Amazing growth.
Exactly. Growth, connection, deep connection, unconditional love, for sure. I agree. And I think one other thing that first of all, I do agree, and then we'll probably wrap up. I agree with you that you are amazing at that. And not only are you amazing at doing it, but then you are able to hold space so beautifully for other people when they're in their feelings. So that's not only a gift to yourself, but it's a gift to others. That's really amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So well deserved. And then also, I think that what we have been underpinning as well is a sense of empowerment.
Yes.
You grow and you evolve. There's this sense of empowerment.
And there's nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Really, because you, like you said, I have all the coping skill. It allows us to know we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And we can make those choices that are gonna support ourselves and those around us. But we're also okay if those around us don't take them.
Yes.
Doesn't make it, and that's still not easy, as we know.
Yes, that's not easy.
But we have to trust and not step away from that empowerment that we have gained and will continue to strengthen over all the years to come.
Yeah, you cannot not. If you're doing the work, it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
Thank you, everybody. Oh my goodness. I hope that everyone is learning and growing in the way that we are, because I feel like I'm growing so much by doing these episodes. It's as much for me as it is for anyone else that it might impact. So I'm so grateful to be here and doing this. And we thank you for listening and supporting us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.